All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our State of Early Childhood in Guilford County Facebook Live event. We are so very excited to have each and every one of you joining us this evening for this event where we've been preparing this for you, and we are excited to have such a wonderful group of early childhood professionals and community representatives joining us this evening to answer your questions and to bring some updated information to you as we've all been moving together through COVID-19 and this pandemic together as one community, one
Mm.
family. We have tried to gather as much information for you. So we're making sure that we're keeping our children safe, that we're keeping you safe, our teachers safe, and just everyone. And so we're just grateful. I do want to give a quick shout out to all of the parents out there, all of our families, and many of our professionals tonight are parents and uncles and aunties and
Mm-hmm.
cousins, and and we
Mm-hmm.
just thank all of you because
Mm-hmm.
it takes all of us working together to keep each other safe, and we just really appreciate you, and we are just so excited to see all of you this evening. I am Lamisha Staten. I'm the Community Outreach Manager for the Partnership for Children right here in Guilford County. And I have the privilege, the absolute privilege, to have a wonderful co moderator tonight, Rhodus Riggins. Hi, Rhodus.
Hey, love. Thank you, Lamisha. I am Rodis Riggins Jr. I am thrilled to be on Facebook Live. I don't have a Facebook account, so this is my first experience with Facebook, as my aunt calls it. I just want to echo what Miss Lamisha said. Hi, just an honor to be with each of you, and we're just so grateful that we all could be in the same space together, be it virtually, we're still connected. So thank y'all.
Absolutely, Rhodus. It is just so wonderful. We're all just safe and well tonight.
Hmm.
And I'm excited to be on here with you this evening to share this presentation. So, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, my love. My pleasure.
Absolutely. And we just want to share, we put this slide together here to just share with you all of the organizations, community agencies that have come together to prepare this presentation for you tonight. We have Bringing Out the Best, which is at UNCG, Ms. Janet Howard, and you'll have a chance to meet her this evening. We also have the Equip program that Rhodes is also a part of. And we have Ms.
And
Ashley Allen. You'll meet
Ashley.
her this evening also as well. That's right. And Equipped is a wonderful program at UNCG providing services to plenty of teachers and childcare centers and family childcare homes across Guilford County to make sure we have quality childcare right here to offer our families in Guilford County. We also have Guilford Child Development's Regional Child Care Resource and Referral Program. It's Ayana O'Neill. You'll get a chance to meet her this evening, providing resources to teachers and parents. If you're looking for child care, that's where you need to go, the GCD, to the Regional Child Care Resource and Referral, and also trainings for our professionals here in Guilford County. Last but not least, we have the NC Pre-K program, and you'll get a chance to meet Ms. Brenda Mathis. She's our NC Pre-K director. When you see updates on pre-K, she's making sure that we're providing that for you to keep all of our families up to date on the latest updates surrounding NC pre-K. So we're glad to have all of them here this evening. And so now, without further ado, we welcome Miss Susan Brady. She's our program director for the partnership. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Lamisha and everyone. Thank you again, as everyone has said, for the participation that we have here tonight. And on behalf of the Partnership for Children, I want to welcome everyone to this discussion around the state of early childhood education here in Guilford County during this unprecedented time that we're all living in. And as Lumisha did mention, our partners, you will get to know them much more as we go forward in our conversation. But I do want to acknowledge the work of their organizations so you can kind of start putting together how these puzzle pieces fit into the larger picture. So EQUIPPED stands for Education, Quality Improvement, and Professional Development. It took me about a year to learn that. Um, and they have a wonderful mission intended to nurture and empower early care and education professionals with the tools that they need for success and particularly right now, sustainability, which is a big part of this. And bringing out the best, they provide family-centered and community-based services for young children who may be experiencing social and emotional challenges. And as you can imagine, that would be a concern these days as well. Our child care resource and referral is housed in Guilford Child Development here, and they serve 3 counties and assisting families with finding child care, scholarships, nutrition services. And they also offer state-approved trainings to both parents and child care providers. And of course, pre-K, and I'm going to provide a little nugget about them that I was not aware of until just recently, but that our North Carolina pre-K program is one of only 4 states who has a program that meets all 10 National Institute of Early Education research benchmarks, which is a big deal. And so we also have our panel experts, and those are the directors, the teachers, the owners, and of course our parents from Academy of Spoiled Kids, Children's Corner, Kingdom Kids Developmental Center. These are truly the people who know what is going on, and we're here to support them as they share their experiences with you. I have to put a plug in for a little bit of data because that's kind of what I do. Prior to the shutdown in mid-March, there were 326 licensed child care centers and homes operating here in Guilford County. And when the shutdown occurred, we checked, and in mid-April, which was roughly about 6 weeks later, there were 207 open at that time. They were determined to continue serving children. I remember one owner said, "I feel like I need to be there for my families." And as of October 12th, we are up to 302. And I bring those numbers up because they're actually quite good. I mean, when you think about what was going on in the spring and how so many of these child care education providers were determined that they were going to be there for children and families. The other side of that is enrollment went way down. Of course, with the stay-at-home order, we would expect that. And it was as low as 40% of children that were attending in February prior to the shutdown. And that was even in June. And we're currently roughly at about 59%. And I bring that to light because lower enrollment oftentimes means less income, and that impacts how they're able to provide services. And so it's a complicated process and situation that we're all in, but it does definitely have some big impacts on the people who are teaching our youngest citizens here in Guilford County. So I appreciate, like I said before, everyone being here, and I will pass it on for us to get started.
Thank you, Susan. That was amazing. And thank you for sharing those data points with us, because that's part of our conversation tonight. Finding out where we are and where we're headed. We appreciate you sharing that information for your leadership.
And what's needed to maintain and sustain going forward. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just as Susan shared, here's a list of our guest panelists for this evening. These are our local early childhood professionals. Again, we have Ashley Allen with Equip, Janet Howard with Bringing Out the Best, Ayana O'Neill, again with the Regional Child Care Resources and Referral Guilford Child Development, and Brenda Mathis with NC Pre-K. And you'll have a chance to meet them just shortly and hear from them and their perspectives. And then we are so very thankful to have our early childhood professionals and a parent with us this evening. We can't do this without the family voice. So we have with us Ms. Jamisa Bidding. She is Academy of Spoiled Kids. We have Angela Jeffers with Children's Corner. She's a toddler teacher here in Guilford County. And then Ms. Bianca Johnson, NC Pre-K parent. We also have Ms. Gloria Jackson. She is the owner and NC Pre-K teacher at Triad Child Development Center, doing both roles. And then we also have Robert and Aretha Brunson. They are the owners of Kingdom Kids Development Center. So you'll have a chance to hear from them and to learn from their perspective what's the state of early childhood in Guilford County.
Bringing that family child care perspective.
That's right.
Lifting that family child care perspective to the
Yes,
space.
absolutely. Rhoda, I'm going to turn it over to you from here and to share with us about joy.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Miss Lamisha. So as we were planning, we know that we're not only in the midst of a global pandemic, but we're also in this great time, in this great spirit of social unrest, dealing with issues related to race and racism and the inequities being played out in plain view that we're witnessing daily. So we have two pandemics at hand. But even in the midst of that, I looked at the work of Richard Fabosi. He's the author of The Joy Quotient. He talks about these 40 different dimensions of joy. So I really wanted to rewrite this question because we are in this context of COVID-19, as we call the Rona in my house, and we are in this great social unrest. So my questions for our beautiful panelists is, despite all these challenges, what still brings you joy? And joy can rest on the continuum from no joy to little joy to abundant joy with the ability to share it and give it away to others. And this is joy in both our personal lives, joy in our professional lives. So what still brings you joy in the midst of these challenges? And that's an open question for the full panel. Don't be shy.
I can go. So this is Aretha with Kingdom Kids Development Center. What brings me joy is just seeing the children coming in the morning. My expectation, their expectation. They're ready to come through the door. But I have to be like, wait, friends. We have to do our, assessments, pretty much our temperatures and different things like that. But it just gives me joy. Never know what they're going to say or what our conversation is going to be that day. And just also personal joy, just waking up, seeing my family, and we all doing it together.
Amen.
Yes, beautiful, Miss Aretha. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll jump in. Excuse me. This is Gloria Jackson, and I'm with Triad Child Development Center. And I can honestly say that the things that really bring me joy in my work environment is the feeling of accomplishments and satisfaction in designing and orchestrating activities for the children, being able to explain ideas clearly, to present new materials in a sensible way, and also being able to present it at a pace so that they can understand. It also brings me joy in laying out groundwork for lifelong learning. My being able to convey messages, or should I say, a light or a fire under children's learning, and to see that light bulb go off. Now that really brings me joy.
Beautiful, Miss Gloria. Thank you.
And this is Jamisa. I want to jump into that because it did feel so good. The joy of knowing that we are a part of a continuum family with the families, that we are part of their day and they're part of our day as well. It's not just a job. It's not a career. It is something that you have to have a passion to do every single day. And again, it goes back, Rhoda, to that little bit of joy, get a little bit more, and maybe sometimes you're overwhelmed with joy. But the overwhelming joy comes when, I think last week I had a student to come to me. She's 20 years old and she can remember me as a 4-year-old. And it was a good thought. So her mom, her family, they're always looking at, I remember when I went to that school, and I remember when that happened, and it was something that enriched her life. So that's just one example of the joy that's brought being in this field and being passionate about it.
Mhm, mhm. And beautiful point, Ms. Jamisa, that our joy will fluctuate because it itself is fluid, just like happiness. So
I'll
thank
jump
you.
in. My name is Angela Jeffers, and I am a toddler teacher at the Children's Corner. And as you well know, when you work in a 2-year-old classroom, there's never a dull moment. Um, they bring, they bring joy whenever they come. They're very transparent. Lately we've been really having some exciting days with the pandemic going on because their energy levels are even higher and their stress level is higher. So it's a lot of unrest in the classroom, but they always manage to bring joy. I've always loved to work with young children anyway. Another thing that brings me joy is to be able to watch my coworkers in the process of all of this going on. We are still hanging on. We are still making a difference in children's lives, even though it is very difficult for us every day. So that brings me joy knowing that the hope of just even early childhood depends on us anyway, because we keep on moving forward no matter what's going on.
Beautiful. And y'all definitely have not stopped, Miss Angela. Thank y'all. Wow. The rest of us have had the luxury of sheltering in place or working from home, but y'all had to keep going every single day. So thank you. Thank y'all. Let's lift the voices from a representative from the community. What brings y'all joy? I don't want to start calling on names down here, but
I'll jump in here. This is Ayana with the RCC R&R with Guilford Child Development. I feel like what brings me joy is the connections that we have been able to keep everyone connected together with our referral side for parents, keeping that line of communication open when it got kind of crazy in the beginning, for especially essential workers trying to, when places did shut down, trying to find somewhere else very quickly, that kind of thing. And then for our providers, just kind of being a calming voice on the other end when they feel like, oh my gosh, where do I go next? Where can I locate this or locate that? And I try to be that person that even if I don't have the answer, we try to navigate and help until we can get them an answer. So that has brought me a lot of joy over these months of, like you said, Rhoda's being sheltered in, but still being able to be helpful through the community of early childhood professionals.
Beautiful, Miss Ayana. Look, we didn't lose our connection or our engagement. So,
that's right.
So thank you. So just to move the conversation forward a bit, so we still want to navigate within this spirit of hope, despite the challenges. But we do want to give just a few moments to open the space for individuals to think about the state of early care and education in Guilford County and just briefly consider what words would you use to describe early care and education in Guilford County? What emotions would you ascribe to the spirit of early care and education in Guilford County? So how do you feel the state of early care and education is in Guilford County? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What are the experiences? And that's an open question as well.
Rose, this is Brenda. I'll chime in on this. I'm NC Pre-K Director at the partnership. So I think for NC Pre-K, my staff and I, we are so fortunate to be able to still give parents options. We have many parents that are essential workers and they didn't stop having to go to work, even though childcare and things might have had to shut down for a brief period. So there are options for parents, and we've answered a lot of questions, and we've respected every parent's right to make the best decision for their family, and only they know what is best for their family. So that's brought us a lot of joy too. But I think it's something we're very proud of, that we do have options for families for NC Pre-K. It's been, and the teachers, and Miss Gloria is one of many teachers we serve. We have some in classrooms. I think know the number off the top of my head. I know we serve a lot of children, but the teachers, I've never been so proud of the teachers. They have kept right on going, whether they're doing remote, whether they're going to parents' houses and dropping off things for the children to do. So the parents still have a lot of options, and we've answered a lot of questions, and we still get calls every day, trying to assist the parents.
Beautiful. So we're seeing this power of resiliency, despite challenges in our children and in the adults and in ourselves to press on, as my mama would say, despite the challenges. Thank you, Ms. Brenda. Other words she was used to describe the state of early care and education, other experiences.
Otis, I would say, although sometimes there's a feeling things are unpredictable, there's still a lot of hope because of the support that we have in Guilford County. And I am familiar with over half of the panelists tonight, and that's a good feeling to know that these are not people that I've met for the first time, that I've ever actually had experiences. So although unpredictable at times, it's hopeful. We don't feel hopeless. And I think that's a good point to make in a time like this.
Beautiful, Ms. Jamisa, beautiful. Highlighting the importance of those relationships. Thank you.
And I'll jump in and actually speak to both of those, because you kind of took two things from both of you. In my head, I was thinking invisible resilience. And I think so. And I'm Ashley Allen. I work in a support role with programs. And I've been working with a group of administrators each week so that they have a space to talk and find resources and troubleshoot. And the challenges right now are, as you said, unprecedented. They're facing days where a staff member may be quarantined, or a family has come into a risk situation and they have to stay home, and a classroom closes, and just the things that they're facing in order to remain open every day despite the odds. And we often forget that when we go out and interact in the world, even if it's at a grocery store, a large majority of the people we interact with wouldn't be in their positions if these early childhood spaces did not exist. And for that reason, I'm thinking invisibly resilient, because they have not given up, but they're rising to these challenges.
Beautifully said, Ashley. Beautiful, beautiful. So other perspectives on just the general reflections around the state of early care and education in Guilford County, be it from a center-based perspective, a family child care setting, the family perspective. Ms. Bianca, definitely want to invite you to lift that family voice. So from your perspective, Ms. Bianca, how do you feel about the state of care in Guilford County?
Personally, what everyone else has been saying, it has been a struggle. I'm currently out of work due to COVID. So that by itself is a personal, but as far as everything else, my kids' learning experience is like a relief for me. They're still getting the full fundamental part of being engaged, interacting with other kids. That was also another concern of mine. Hey, they're not going to be actually in school because, with the COVID, and that was my personal, my personal preference as far as keeping them home. I have a 8-month-old baby as well. So I have a set of twins, so they're 4 years old in pre-K, by the way. But so my whole thing was protect them. And so having this option of my children being able to still get that education, still feel like they're being a part with everyone else it's an extra relief off my shoulders. It's one less thing that I have to worry about. It's still a struggle. I will be humanly honest about that. It's still a struggle, but however, just prioritizing my children and making sure they're first and everything is set in stone and they getting what they need out of it is just a bonus for me. So that's my personal perspective of in my household, and with the whole education and the learning experience. So I'm grateful for it.
Wow, thank you, Miss Bianca, and thank you for lifting that. The pandemic has had real economic impacts
Yeah.
on our children and families. I see it with many of my own friends who are in this huge phase of transition. Everything from having to give up their homes, co-locate to move in with others. Just to make it. So thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Lamisha, where we want to go next, love? Do you want to talk about lesson learned during the pandemic? Would that be a good place to rest?
Yes, I think that's great. And I wanted to, Rhoda, she did such a wonderful job moderating that discussion about kind of where we are, how everyone is feeling. I wanted to just go to our Facebook comments really quick and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of let you guys know we have some wonderful folks joining us tonight. Caitlin Trahan says, "Hey, you guys, it's great to see all of you. Hope you all are staying safe." We want to give Caitlin a shout out.
Yes.
Nikki Bell says, "Hi, Rhoda." And
Hey,
she said,
love.
and Nikki says, "Hi, Angela." So she gave you a shout
Mm-hmm.
out as well. And then Nikki says to Angela, she says, "We as educators everywhere must remember and work through the statement, we are in this together." So we are in
Mm-hmm.
this together is our thing. That's what we're going with. That's where we are with early childhood. Because we've got to stay together for our kids, right? And make sure they have a successful future and our families. So Bianca, we're with you and we're going to connect with you too to see how we can help
Thank
assist
you.
you as well.
Thank
Cassandra Rankin says, "Thank you, Ayana, for all you do." So wanted to just share
Oh,
that. And then someone says, "I'm a health and safety director at my center, and I have a question." So we're going to come back to that question just shortly. And
good.
Robin Sink says,
We
"Thank you
love
for,"
Robin.
yeah, she says, "Thank you for impacting the lives of so many." So all of you, all of our providers on tonight, and Bianca as well, and all of our professionals, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anita Perry is on tonight. Hey, Anita. She says, "Hey, Ashley Allen."
Mm-hmm.
So she gave you a shout out. So we have some wonderful folks. I see we have
Wow.
22 viewers right now. So we thank all of you. Hey, everybody.
Wow.
We thank you for joining us tonight for this wonderful discussion. And we've moved right on through our agenda right here, just getting some viewpoints. And I just wanted to just share really quickly, just from the early childhood professionals. Again, we have some folks from our community representatives bringing out the best equipped. Ayana, Brenda, are there any other perspectives that you want to share just in as where we are with early childhood right now and where you see us headed from the community side of things? Where do you see us headed?
Yeah, this is Janet from Bringing Out the Best. And just as Susan Brady shared those numbers earlier, right before we started, clearly there was an impact in the beginning, but look how far we've come with everything going on. I mean, my word is determined. That is sort of my word for what's going on in early childhood. The centers, the directors, the teachers are all determined to keep this going and provide a safe place for our kids to go. And I think that I've been in meeting after meeting after meeting with directors and hearing Ashley talk about her directors group and different things. And it's clear to me that centers are working really hard. Family child care homes, teachers across the board are working really hard to figure out what can we do to make sure we have a safe place for our families to bring their children. And I am very grateful for that. And I will also say that at Bringing Out the Best, we had a lull there where we didn't have a lot of people calling us, and we were reaching out to everybody saying, "What can we do? Can we help you? We're here." And we realized that people were just surviving basically. But now people are starting to call, and we are here to help. And we're so thankful that people are calling us now and saying, "Okay, I think we're in a place where we can get some help now." And our joy is to be able to do that, to, as Gloria said, to light that fire and let that light bulb go off for the children. We like the light bulb to go off for the parents and the teachers. And that's sort of our role. And so we love it when that happens. So that's where we are.
Thank you.
Yeah, and there's been some challenges that you guys have had to face as well, so far as going into the centers to be able to provide technical assistance. This brings in Nikki Bell's question. Let me read her question and get your feedback. Janet Rodis, anyone else want to give feedback on her question? So Nikki says, I'm the health and safety director at my center, and I have a question. With most centers following COVID enhanced protocols, how have local agencies been able to support centers during this pandemic? That's the first question. So how have the agencies like yours, Janet, how have you been able to support centers? And then her second question is, how can we get that support for tools and strategies in our classrooms and for our families?
Well, from our perspective, we are not making visits into classrooms. And even if I think there are a handful of places that have said you can come in, but we are not able to do that right now. So we are trying to provide technology, and Jamisa can speak to this because we just did that for her. We are trying to provide some technology for teachers so that we can have eyes in the classroom since we can't be there ourselves. So we're working on doing that, but we are welcome to, or teachers are welcome to call us. We can do email, we can do Zoom, we can do any of those things to try to give teachers what they need. I also want to say that we are providing recorded trainings and hopefully some live training soon for teachers. And I know that Equipped is doing that too. And Ayana said there are lots of different trainings going on or getting ready to go on for teachers to get some of that help. But anyone can call us and we can do anything over the phone, or like I said, get an iPad or something out there so we can try to get eyes on that child. Mm-hmm. So that's how we're handling that. And then the families, same thing. I mean, we're offering all the same services for families too.
That is awesome. And we have to give a shout out to all of our agencies working directly with our early childhood providers, because it has been a challenge, but you all have found a way to stay connected to our centers, to our families, to let them know that we're still with them and we can't do it without you. And we appreciate you for pivoting and for, through Zoom and, making phone calls and following up has been so important. I know our providers are so appreciative of your support.
And that's such a key point, Ms. Lamisha, that in many ways, it's not necessarily that we had to suspend the work itself, but it did require us to think differently about where everyone was. We all went to this space of basic survival. And in many ways, we're still there. So I know that in our organization, we all shifted to just ensuring that we were trying to connect individuals with basic needs, trying to connect them with possible funding sources. I'm looking at Ashley, trying to get some of those grants that were available, trying to connect them in that way. So we all had to really become and be human with each other, realizing that the work itself will pick back up again. But right now it's about really taking care of each other and checking in with each other to see how we were really doing and asking that question, but lingering long enough to hear the response has been so critical.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I meant to say something a while back. I'm just going to be transparent as being a teacher.
Please do, Ms. Angela.
I'm going to be honest. Ashley has really helped me a lot because sometimes we just need somebody to talk to. Mm-hmm. Nikki Bell is great to talk to, but teachers are exhausted. Mm-hmm. That is the word that I would use, is exhausted. Mm-hmm. Every time I get out of my car in the morning, I have to put on a mask for 6 to 8 hours a day and try to talk to 2-year-olds is exhausting. We're emotionally spent and physically spent. I mean, they've relaxed some of the guidelines just a little bit. I mean, we were washing loads and loads and loads of blankets and sheets every day. I mean, our numbers were low, but things are getting a little bit better, but the numbers are picking up. So the stress is getting even more difficult. So Ashley had this small forum where she had some teachers come, like she's doing with the administrators, just to talk to us about what's going on. Because sometimes I'm at my limit. I'm having to, like you said, we're really working together to keep going, because we keep a face, you know, because we love the children, and what they need is what we're going to do. But a lot of times we put ourselves on the line and we put ourselves on the back burner because we have to keep our jobs and we have to keep ourselves safe, because I have kind of a special situation going on because I work at the hospital. So my parents are right on the front line. Some of them are doing COVID testing every day. And so the stress level for them is so much more difficult. I'm not saying for anybody else, but for my parents, it's very, very stressful, because nurses can test positive any day. They test them constantly. So they're trying to keep us safe so that they can keep working. But I'm just thankful for some of the agencies. Like I said, Ashley has been, I can pick up the phone sometime and just call her and say, I'm exhausted. I can't do anymore. And she just listens. She doesn't say anything. She just listens. But she lets me know that you guys are there and our support, because we love the children, but a lot of us are getting to our breaking point. I'm just speaking for all of us early childhood professionals. You talk about the parents losing things. When they cut our hours back, one of my coworkers lost her car. She couldn't get to work. So, you know, it's impacting everybody, the parents, and especially us, because even though our wages are not high enough, we still keep working and we keep, you know, doing what we need to do to keep everybody else safe. And I'm glad that you guys are in place to help us, because I don't think we could make it if it wasn't for you guys. And the parents, of course, because the parents, you know, they're going through just like we are. But I just wanted to be transparent. You know, I'm one of the representatives as, you know, a teacher, and I know what we're going through on the front lines, and it's really, really difficult. But
Well,
thank you guys so much for being there for us.
Thank you, Miss Angela, because that was an important part of our conversation tonight, so that we are acknowledging the real impact of COVID-19 on your daily lives, on your family lives, as well as on your professional lives. So thank you for being transparent. Thank you for being transparent.
May I speak to that for one moment too? This is Ashley. I just wanted to follow up and say, I think in that moment and hearing transparency and seeing it and making it real, I think something anyone working in early childhood settings has always been really good at is making it look easy. And I think because of that, we often take for granted the time, the effort, the intention, the emotion. It is such an emotionally, I don't want to use the word draining, because it's an emotionally rejuvenating position just to hear about the joy that all of you get out of that. But I think it's really important to bring reality to it too. And since we are live and I know folks are listening, I have to say a major thank you for so many programs accessing Guilford Cares funding. Guilford County saw the providers applying for those funds, and many programs did receive some. So I think that level of invisibility hopefully is becoming more visible, because without this infrastructure and the teachers and the family child care homes that are there, we wouldn't be able to continue moving in the right direction.
Thank you, Ashley, for bringing that up. And I promised to Bruston that I was not going to put them on the spot, but you're echoing a conversation that we had earlier. So Miss Aretha and Mr. Robert, earlier today we were talking about some of the necessary supports, and you expressed your gratitude for the supports that were in place to support you to sustain not only professionally but personally during this time. But you also echoed that there was a need for something to continue, the ongoing support, the ongoing funding. Yes. Would you mind sharing a little about that?
Sure. earlier, I was being very thankful because Guilford County, the state, has helped us early care education as far as providing supplies, the necessary supplies. However, I did mention, in addition to that, simple things like Lysol. There's some things that we still have to get on our own, but with Lysol being so scarce, that's something that we do need as well. And I just mentioned that maybe the state, maybe they have the ability to get us those supplies that we cannot find in the store. But if it was not for the state, we wouldn't be able to sustain financially and getting the supplies, the needed supplies that we do need to sanitize and do the things, the necessity things for our programs.
Thank you.
Did you?
And I was just talking about like maybe some shields or something, like, so when a parent do come into a in-home daycare or a daycare, they have like shields to where they can be somewhat catch germs if it's any germs, any particles that if they sneeze anything, like what they have at Walmart, the sneeze guards, things like that. I think that'd be somewhat a great idea to have, just in case, a parent do come in and they do sneeze and they do they do have it and we don't know. That's what I was sharing with Mr. Ross, and also like my wife was saying, just the stuff just items that was sent to our home, the Clorox and the wipes and the things that we have. It did good for not just only the daycare, but also as my family, because my family as well is here with us every day. So we also help keep and sanitize. I keep our house sanitized as well, because we clean just about every day anyway.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
That's what I was telling Mr. Rose earlier today about that.
And that's a critical reminder. And you said it so well, Mr. Robert, that your childcare setting is your home. It is your home. So we can't separate those two spaces.
No, sir.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
So through these challenges, what are some of the lessons that you've learned? Be it within the pandemic or through the pandemic, what are some key lessons that you've learned? And these lessons could be about you personally. It could be professional lessons, things you've gained from families.
I think that, I'm sorry. I think that it's been a refresher for a lesson of resilience, as someone spoke about earlier. We've been innovative. We've had to come in and just make it work for that day. And then the next day it may look totally different, but we still show up. And I commend the teachers that are on here. Yes, teachers are burnt out. Administrators are burnt out. But we have the support of Equipped. We have the support of Bringing Out the Best. We have the support of the referral program with Ayana. And that's huge. We need all of that to continue. It was always there, but now the need is a little different. It's not just the agency, but we need to see the same faces and support each other during this. So a lesson of resilience, a lesson of being more collaborative for me. It definitely made showing up a little easier. We did not shut down one day during this pandemic, and I have an extremely large center. So even at 50%, I'm serving a lot of families, and I have to show up for those families, and I have to show up for my teachers. So I need the support of the community, and I have definitely received that in Guilford County.
Beautiful. I love your use of the term innovative. You had to become innovative. So those are lessons that can benefit how we engage with each other going forward as well, Ms. Jamisa. So thank you. Other lessons learned.
I've seen,
on this one. One of the lessons as an educator that I had to learn was some of the children that I have, they are in person, and then some of the children learn remote. And so you really had to think about, how am I going to provide a lesson for the children that are learning? How am I going to effectively deliver services for those children that are learning remotely? You have to think about, do they have the supplies? The children in your classroom, you don't have to worry about them because you know that they have everything that they need. However, the children that are learning remotely, you have to think about how you're going to actually deliver that lesson for those children. How am I going to make it interesting? How am I going to keep their attention as well as make it fun for those children? It was a lesson learned. I had to really think outside the box and try to be creative in the way that I presented lessons for them, because it's totally different to me as far as teaching in the classroom. You just have to say, now, there are some things in our curriculum that we provide in person that the children online are unable to get. The social emotional piece is one piece that I'm really concerned about. Even though they are able to socialize with children when we're online, it's not like having them actually there in the classroom where they can actually associate with other children. So it is a lesson learned, how you step outside your comfort level and provide what those children actually need.
And so, Miss Gloria, thinking of from a technological perspective, was the NC Pre-K program able to provide technology for those children who are receiving their instruction remotely or online?
Well, I think the children that I have in my classroom, I think their families provided the technology for them. I've not heard of any of them saying that they actually needed services for remote learning. Their families just stepped in and provided the services that they needed for remote learning.
Okay, Ms. Brenda. You know I was coming to you, Ms. Brenda. You know I was coming. Thank you, Ms. Gloria.
So we, at the partnership, we did a survey of how many children needed a device and how many would actually, if they had, they might have a device but not have internet service. We did a survey on that. We've sent it to the Division of Child Development Early Education. That's who we're funded by the state of North Carolina. It's part of Division of Health and Human Services. But they, at this time, they have not received any funding to be able to do that. Guilford County Schools, if they, they're still working on getting tablets and devices for children that are K-12. But I have heard that if they were to have any left over, that they might be able to help some of the pre-K children who don't have it. But it's very few that have not been able to log on during the remote time. It's very few, and we're aware of that. We have a list, and we're trying to assist that. But the state hasn't provided any of that for any NC pre-K program.
So would you view that as a potential need moving forward, Ms. Brenda?
Yes, it's definitely a need. Even if they had like an iPad or something like that, a tablet, anything. It doesn't have to be a laptop or a desktop computer, something like that. Yeah, it's definitely.
Rodas, I just wanted to add to Brenda's comments regarding, we've been promoting this need to our state, the North Carolina Partnership, and even to legislators. And it's been very interesting because some of the assumption is that if you're in an urban county or a large county like Guilford is considered to be, that you wouldn't have a need or these problems. But in reality, it is just as much a need. And one of the things that we're discovering, that even in counties with a large city or a large urban population, things like even having high-speed internet. I mean, if you go just far enough outside of Greensboro, you don't have to leave Guilford County and you're already coming into issues of actually having a connection, much less the technology.
Yeah.
So that is something that's been taken to the state and saying, this is something as a statewide we need to look at for all of our citizens. And, you know, that's one of those things that may not have ever surfaced if this had not happened. But at the same time, it really does show a gap in what many of us assume everybody has, because you know, you can go to downtown Greensboro and connect, but that doesn't mean in your house you can.
Yes. So, Ms. Susan, it really highlighted the inequities around access to Wi-Fi and even, as you said, even devices and technology itself. So thank you. Thank you. So we're headed into this convergence. We have the potential for COVID-19 and the flu to converge. So how are you preparing yourselves personally, professionally, and how are you supporting the families for some of these unknown outcomes? Because we're not aware of how these two factors are going to collide and what the outcomes may be. So have you begun to have conversations around the potential for COVID-19 to converge with the flu in the coming months, and how you will navigate through that process personally and professionally, and support your families as well?
I'll go on that one too, Rhoda. So you can ask my coworkers, Lamisha and Susan, at our staff meeting. I said, I'm not going to have any comments, but I'm going to do a public service announcement. Please get your flu shot. Please get your flu shot. We've shared that with providers. We're sharing that with parents. You know, I'm sure Lamisha shares things like that on Facebook, and just please get your flu shot, because we don't want to have a double whammy, as I would call it, and have to get both at the same time. It would be devastating. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Brenda. Thank you. I had to remind myself to do the same, honey. So when I went to pick up a prescription at Walmart, I was like, y'all get the flu shot? I didn't realize that it was stratified based on age, but that's a whole nother conversation. So thank you. Thank you. Well, let's drill down a bit more. We had an opportunity to discuss your lived experiences during the pandemic. We had an opportunity for each of you to share your general reflections of the state of early care education in Guilford County. Let's start thinking more about what it's really going to take to advance our field, to continue moving forward. So what are some necessary resources and supports that are essential for us to sustain and maintain, as well as advance? We know ongoing funding is a critical resource, and that funding needs to exist at many different levels, even to include honoring, increasing your pay for this critical work that you're doing during this critical time. What are some other resources that are necessary?
I think as early educators that we need to come together and advocate for our profession. We need to call our elected officials and let them know that we're thinking about high quality childcare education and how important it is. We also need to let them know that we are holding them accountable for investing in our children. We need to tweet, do whatever we can to let our elected officials know and let them know how we feel and make our voices known as well as our votes. And we need to stay informed and stay connected. We can provide we can join professional organizations. We can visit legislators. We can't visit them in their offices now, but we can make a visit virtually with them in order to let them know how we're feeling.
Thank you, Miss Gloria. Thank you. So there's this need for, I'm trying to stay away from the term advocate, but there's this need to, to mobilize, to influence certain policies. Thank you.
I
Other
also
resources
think,
and support.
Yes, Miss
Angela.
as teachers, I know that we're very tired, but we have to have a voice. Not really sure how to get us organized, but the beginning is very precious. Nobody thinks about infant teachers and toddler teachers and pre-K. We're setting the foundation for public school.
That's right.
Or any kind of upper level. If those things are not in place, then stuff is not going to go the way it's supposed to. And we need to be included in that table. We need to be sitting at that table with public schools, because without us, they can't function. And we all need to be, together in this. But, getting, I know we're very tired as teachers, but we have got to get on board. We got to figure out how we can get organized, talk to our legislators. They want to hear teachers' perspectives. I went to, they had a Strolling Thunder in Raleigh, and we went to talk to some of them and give them some of our perspectives. I told them, I said, I need you to help me stay in my job, because I can't afford to be a early childhood professional. Even though I love it, I can't afford to do this. And, it was okay when my husband was pulling our bills, but now my husband's on disability. So my check is pulling everybody, so, I can imagine being a single mom with one child, just one child with the salaries that we're getting. So as teachers, we're going to have to figure out what we can do, even with our larger centers that have more resources. They still can be an advocate for us because they're larger. So they need to help push the climate. They need to help push it along with the ones that have home daycares, the ones that are in smaller daycares. We all need to come together, not just those that have for profit. You know what I'm saying? We all need to get together so everybody wins. Not just those that are making money, but those that are, we need to make money too so we can survive, because I don't know how we can attract anybody to our profession when we won't pay them. You can go to school for 4 years and get a 4-year degree, and you can't pay your loan back and survive. So there's something wrong with that picture. So like I said, we need to be an advocate for ourselves and really start pushing the envelope. And I know teachers are tired. We're trying to figure out how we're going to make the meetings. They're in the middle of the day. There are times where we can't get off, there's no coverage, but we're going to have to figure out what we can do as teachers, because they need to hear what's going on,
And you just highlighted some work that we need to do as well, Miss Angela, because there's this great disconnect between early care and education.
And we just had a question to come in. That was
public school.
Absolutely. And we just had a question to come in from Leslie Alexander from Bringing Out the Best. And I'll read this. Yes, Miss Angela, her question is, how can support service providers, so programs like Bringing Out the Best, like Equipped, like Resource and Referral, how can they help teachers manage burnout? What would be your, how do you feel that they can help and how we can help the teachers to minimize the burnout that you're feeling right now?
I think just providing some opportunities for us all to get together. I mean, Zoom calls where we really, I'm not sure what it is that keeps us from being advocates. I'm not sure why we don't have the voice that we need and the numbers that we need. I think it's just the difficulty in the meetings and just the nature of our work. I think just being a support. I mean, like, I know Equipped, we had that teacher meeting and it was just a few teachers. It's just a few of us. So I'm not really sure what we can do. You guys help. I don't really know.
And some of that is on us, Miss Angela, too, to figure out as well. Being conscious that we need to come to you before setting certain times for certain events. We need to, as you say, allow your voice to drive when certain events occur. So there's some work for us to do on agency and organization ends as well, and the ability to compensate you for your time and your energy. Just like I'm being paid as a facilitator, I'm still being paid regardless of where I am. So we got to figure out a way to ensure that you're being paid as well for being in various spaces too.
And I have something to say to Miss Angela. When this pandemic first started and we kept hearing frontline workers, frontline workers, frontline workers, and we were not included in that number. We were not included in that definition, and that bothered me to my core. So I started advocating in my daily talk. I am a frontline worker and I'm essential as well. And I got people to start thinking differently, even in the meetings that we had with our directors that I'm a part of during the every Thursday we meet. I brought that up. What does essential mean? We're essential as well. And we have to, in our daily talk, even the word daycare burns me to my core. I don't care for days. I am an early childhood provider. I'm a professional. What do you mean? And you just have to kind of have that spirit that's within you that you can carry everywhere you go and kind of get people straight sometimes. Hey, this is what we do. My job is very important. Those early years are extremely 0 to 3. We know that brain development is there. Okay. So what do you mean I'm not a frontline worker? And you're in the hospital, you said, Miss Angela. I'm thinking about my work, my daily work, and I have a few parents that may be nurses, but you don't have a choice. You are exposed every day you're at work. So my heart goes out. I would have you in my thoughts. So I'm thinking about things in a different light as I listen to us all talk. But how do we start the advocacy? And I'll call it, I'm an advocate. How do we start that? We start with our daily talk. When people ask us questions, we answer and we think about it and we let them know how we feel. We are transparent, but I am a professional. I am not, I don't take care of days.
And Ms. Jamisa, that is part of being courageous to confront some of those lingering misconceptions. So thank you.
Mr. Rodas, are you able to repeat the question, please?
Yes, with Miss Lamisha. So we were talking about self-care. Was that the question, Miss Lamisha? Self-care?
Yes. And directly, she said, how can support service providers, so programs like Bringing Out the Best, Equip, RCC, R&R, how can they help our teachers mitigate burnout? So what are some ways that they can help provide you support even more to help you from, becoming burned out, stressed out, and, just helping you through this process as we move through this pandemic?
Just pretty much the support. I know Equip, Ashley, every Thursday she meets with directors and I do join in at times, although I'm a family childcare provider, but a goal is to have a center. That's why we named it Kingdom Kids Development Center. But just having that group meeting that's supporting one another professionally and just talking, vamping, that can also help us to mitigate just everything that is going on. And I also wanted to see if Rodas was able to repeat the question that he had asked previously, because I wanted to come from a family childcare home provider perspective.
Oh, yes. So that one was related to Pacific resources to sustain.
I hope that answered the question that the parent had.
Yes, Miss Aretha, yes. So wasn't the question related to essential resources for to sustain and maintain moving forward?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it one more time? Our speakers was technology.
Oh, yes, love, yes. Was it related to identifying essential resources and support necessary to sustain and maintain to move forward?
Okay, so from a family childcare perspective, I just want to say that um, I went to school, and as a teacher, I went to school for 4 years, so I have my bachelor's degree, and I'm a te I'm a family childcare home provider. I'm an administrator, so it's so much that I have to do. And thank God for the support of my husband, my family, but it's so much role I'm playing. Um, and sorry, it is stressful. However, I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. I lost a thought. I lost my thought. I'm gonna
That's
get
all.
it back.
That's all right, Miss Aretha.
I lost
Take
my
your
thought.
time.
So we're asking about support and what the community can do.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
yeah, so the community or the state, they can, so for early childhood, we're early childhood professionals. It doesn't matter if we're a family child care home provider. Some providers went to school, some did not. So I know everyone's on a different level. However, there are some that did the extra step in going to school. And I know someone mentioned about the underpay because we have all these student loans and we're not able to pay those things back. And if we're able to get the support if we're able to get the support or added income from a state level, that will really help us because we're laying the foundation for young children. They said children are the future, and we know that, but we're raising kids. We're not just teaching children, we're raising them. Of course, I know parents raise their children, but we still all together, it's a community effort, family raising them, we're raising them. Um, yeah, so if we're able to get the support from a state level and just look at whether it's family child care home providers or it's center-based or NC pre-K, we're all professionals. There are some who have went back to get the foundation, to get the understanding, the knowledge of early care and education. So we're all important. We all matter. So the advocacy should be on all level. Um, a, a jug of milk, it costs the same whether we have a center or a family child care home. So that funding, the support, the income, it is so broad, it's so wide where we all need the support. I hope I answered the question. I don't know if I kind of went off, I kind of vamped, but I hope we all come together and as a state, I guess every level from policyholders, stakeholders, everyone just come together and sit down, look and see the state because we all matter. We are all professionals. We do this. Some of us, we are a family child care home provider. So this is in our home. So it's a lot of risk that we're taking on just as how everyone is taking risk, but we all need the support. That's all.
Beautifully said, Miss Aretha. Beautifully.
Awesome.
We also had a question from Ms. Deborah Foster from His Glory Child Development Center, sort of along the same line of this 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 call for equity, and that's what you just expressed, this call for equity regardless of the type of setting that you're operating under. So Ms. Deborah had this question related to, will the state of North Carolina ever view our early care and education the same and as significant to even offer state covered health insurance? That's another equity consideration question that we must bring before our legislators, beginning to demand state health coverage for early care and education professionals as well. So thank you. Thank you. I want to do a quick time check, Miss Lamisha.
Yes, we are at 8:10.
8:10. And what time are we ending our conversation, my love?
Well, we have had a wonderful discussion tonight, y'all. I mean, this has been amazing, and I've got to shout out our. You guys probably haven't been able to see it, but in our Facebook comments, it has been really live in the comments tonight. And I just wanted to just do a check-in and just let y'all know kind of some of the things that are going on in the comments. Cassandra Rankin was asking, is there a family home association, like advocacy group or association for family home care provider, early childhood providers? And so Joy Everhart, she commented that yes, there is an association for family home providers in Guilford County. Ayana, who's on the line here tonight, said that Ayana at CCR&R can connect you. So Ayana, we're gonna send that one to you. But Ayana, do you want to share just a moment really quickly about the Association for Family Home Providers in Guilford County?
Sure. The Family Child Care Home Association, they normally would meet every first of the month before our COVID happened. And they always gathered, normally they had like a speaker or someone, but it was also a place where they could come together and actually have conversations like we're having tonight, and actually do certain types of different subject areas. They've even had times where they brought in people for different trainings. That way they could get training hour credits for professional development purposes and that kind of thing. But it was just a good networking place for our family child care homes to actually be able to connect and talk and come together. And fellowship too, as well. They did some holiday events and that kind of thing. So now they are meeting virtually. I'm not sure if there is a regular schedule going on at this moment. Annetta Joyner is the president of the association at this time. And so if anyone needs that information, you can email me or call me and I will make sure you get in contact with them.
Sounds great. Thank you, Ayana. And I guess one of the last questions, Rhodas, I was thinking about, I wanted to make mention of Bianca again, just from the parent voice, the parent side of things. Bianca, how do you feel? I know this has been a tough time for parents. How do you feel going forward that our programs can support you greater, can support parents? And how do you see us working together to make sure that we're protecting our children going forward?
Great question. For the most part, far as the remote learning perspective, that has been a bonus. I'm grateful for that even being the option for us parents to be able to have. I'm one of those parents, I'm a mama bear, so I have little ones. I'm very protected over them. I know you can't escape germs. Everybody knows that, but it's just a peace of mind, just knowing, hey, they're protected. How I see it in the future, I want the outside world to get back to normal. I do want my kids to experience that going to school and walking down the hallway with their book bags and seeing other kids and things of that nature. But until the world gets back, consistent, far as the rates on the COVID cases, I think for me personally, continuing this education that I chose for them with the remote, I just feel like that's my piece of haven, knowing that they're protected. Again, I do want to see them in the future, hopefully, by the grace of God, if that's possible, be able to go to school, be able to sit in Miss Jackson class and, be comfortable, not have to worry about being confined behind the mats and their babies. They don't want to be confined. They want to talk and hug and high five and stuff like that. So until the world kind of get back normal, I think for me, I'm just playing it safe. I don't know if that might be good to say, but it's honest. But for me, this remote learning for them being at home with me is benefit for us from that. But the downside is, they don't really have that, one-on-one interaction. I just hope that, like when Ms. Jackson was saying, earlier, it's kind of hard on teachers because, it's different and it's a little challenging because it's something new. It's definitely new for me. My kids are in pre-K. This is my first go rodeo with this whole schooling thing. So I'm still even learning. So I commend her and all the teachers that's going the extra mile to make sure my children, are getting that what they're needing to get. So I'm grateful, and I'm going to be, kind of open-minded and still praying, hopefully that everything does get back to normal. But for the most part, this whole remote learning for me is something that I just kind of look forward to until everything gets kind of calmly down, like with all the cases and stuff like that. For me, that's just something that I'm going to keep on holding on to, why it's still being able to be provided for me. But again, I do want eventually to see them, go to school and be kids like how we were, so, but that was a great question, but I just think that, hopefully, they can be able to go to school one day, and hopefully everything can get back to normal. But for right now, I just feel like this opportunity of being able to have my kids at home to still get that experience still, although it's not the quite same, I'm grateful for it because my kids, they don't know no difference. Oh, we're gonna see Miss Jackson today? Yeah, so they eager, so that's the bonus part. They little minds, they know, but they don't know. But hopefully eventually it'll get better and everything can go back to normal and we won't have to have remote. But for right now, I'm grateful for it.
That is so wonderful. And I was thinking about this next slide before we get ready to close that Brodus had made sure that we brought into the presentation tonight. I was thinking about the impact on the children, because a lot of times we talk about the impact on us, but we've got to remember that this has been just a total change for our kids. And we talk about how children can feel when we're stressed. They can feel when something is not right. They know when mama's not feeling good. They know when daddy's not feeling good. They can be playing in the room, the TV's on, and we're looking at CNN or looking at TV, and they're, this going on about COVID, and they're hearing and they're like, I don't want COVID. I don't, what is COVID? What are they talking about? Why are people, what's happening? And we have to acknowledge that like you said, Bianca, just surrounding our kids with love. And, we can't say enough thank yous to our parents, to our teachers, to all of you, because you guys are right there. Jimmy says, you said you're the professionals. Our parents are the first teacher, are our children's first teacher. And Bianca, you're sharing it tonight and being on here tonight, advocating for your babies, advocating for your families, to the teachers to our professionals this evening, advocating for yourselves and saying, hey, we need to gather up. We got to call our representatives. We've got to stay on the front lines. That's key. Because as we were doing, I do a lot of the social media for the partnership, and we're getting ready to close. But one of the hashtags I try to remember, especially as we started this, was to say that our early childhood professionals have always been essential. It didn't just start with COVID-19.
Wow.
That's
Beautiful, Miss
something that we
Alicia.
know.
Beautiful.
You all have, whether you're in, as the Brunsons have said, whether you're in the home, like Miss Gloria, like Jamisa, like Miss Jeffers, whether you're in the center, you have always been essential. Our parents, you have, Bianca, you have always been essential. To our, our community representatives tonight, you have always been essential. And the services that you're providing, as I looked in the comments earlier tonight, I saw a lot of thank yous to, bringing out the best. Thank you to Equip. Thank you to RCC R&R. Thank you to all of you on here tonight. And that really says some. Thank you to Brenda. Thank you to Susan. That says a lot about this group on here tonight. And I believe this is the start of something great, because we have a lot of voices tonight. And, we really appreciate the time that you took to share with us as we think about what we've been through COVID-19. I would say it brought us closer together, because, this is a night we've been able to come together. I haven't met some that are on the call tonight, but your family. And at the partnership, what we do, we're here for you. My job is community outreach, and this is what we are supposed to do. Hear your voices and make sure that we take action to make sure you have what you need. And this has provided a wonderful opportunity for us to come together to the community to share about what's really going on with early childhood in Guilford County. And I can say to everyone that's watching us, I hope that you heard the passion and the voices that spoke tonight. What's happening with early childhood in Guilford County? Early childhood is strengthening, and we are going forward, and we're not going to stop. The care for your children is going to increase. We're going to be there. The quality has not stopped for early childhood in Guilford County. What you see on this screen tonight from our professionals, our teachers, to all of the programs that are on tonight, from Bianca, our parent representative, to our directors, Brenda and Susan and others, what you see tonight is a commitment to serve. And I want all of you to know you have a commitment from us to continue to serve your children and families. We're not going to stop. We're going to be here with you, and we are committed to walking with you through this, because we got to make sure our babies have a successful future. And we're going to be here, right here with you. Isn't that right, Rhodas?
Well said, Mr. I'm about to pass this collection plate. I'm about to pass the collection plate. So in that spirit, if there was one, I don't want to call it a challenge, one inspiration that I could leave with you as well, is to think of what is your great ask? What is the one thing, or the things that you need to continue? What are your asks? And ask that from your community, ask that from us, ask that from your legislators, your policymaker. What is the ask to support you and continue? Which leads us to this potential opportunities for support. Ashley May, you want to frame support for us, because you always remind us that it ain't about the stuff only.
It is not. And I think in working with programs, whether it's family, childcare, home, or centers, they're doing the best with what they can. And that also means policies and practices in the program, doing it better, doing it differently, and improving on that. But you're always going to get to a point where things are as far as they can get without supports from outside. And that's just the nature of how this is set up and how we operate in the moment. So I would encourage anybody that's listening right now that has any connections anywhere. I have heard everything from thermometers needing to be constantly replaced, because I don't think what we have available was actually designed to be used probably 200 times each day. So they're going through those pretty quickly. Another thing is to think about fingerprinting time in Guilford County. If anyone here has any connections to that, it's taking about 5 weeks right now. And if you hire someone, we can't wait 5 weeks. And last but not least, I've also been asked, is there anyone who knows about prioritized testing for essential workers or those who would be considered working in hospitals or nurses? Because I'm assuming they have a way to be tested on a quicker turnaround than just the general public would. And when we're quarantining a teacher in order to open a classroom and waiting a week to get a test result, it would be wonderful if we're going to name this field essential to give them the same privileges that other essential fields have too. So those are some major things that would just help make their everyday lives easier. But I think it's really important to acknowledge that the state and everyone has come together to help realize and recognize what the programs need and give funding that way. But this isn't the end of it. This is the beginning. We've made it this far, but people in the community can step up to you. Even if you think it's something that's not a big deal, boxes of gloves, a thermometer, health insurance, everybody knows somebody. So that would be my way of saying, whatever you can do, please do it.
Absolutely.
Invisible resilience.
Thank you, Bella. And say that word about services. Services don't have to be just products related, right? There's some self-care services out there that can help maintain our emotional well-being.
Even healthcare, dentist office, anything that has something to contribute, because everything has value.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Susan, did you have any other ways people can support that you just wanted to mention?
I think Ashley did a wonderful job of that,
She
and I'm
did.
going to leave it at that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are wonderful ways. So we hope if anyone is watching in any way that you can help us to help our teachers, our early childhood professionals here in Guilford County, please do. You see some of the supplies that are needed. You can contact us at the number on the screen if you'd like to donate so we can make sure that those items get out to our providers as well. And just here at the end, we thank you. We have been on for, I think, an hour and a half. We have had a wonderful conversation tonight. But we want to thank you. We still have 20 viewers with us. So hi, everybody. Everybody wave and say hello to the folks that are watching us, to the community. We thank you guys. Thank y'all for sticking with us. There's so much more that can be said, but we appreciate you. Did want to let you know we have some wonderful folks working behind the scenes tonight on social media. Want to give a shout out to Kim from our office. She has posted some wonderful resources in the comment section, and some other folks have posted resources for you in our comment section as well. We have Kim developed a resource list. There is a resource list, you guys, for all of our viewers, for you to get connected to these programs that you've heard about tonight. So all of our early childhood professionals that are watching, community members, legislative representatives, parents that are watching, please click on that resource list. I believe it takes you to our website. You can print that off, you can send it out, share it out all across Guilford County to make sure folks can get connected into the wonderful resources that we've had. Thank you. We see a lot of thank yous coming in. Thank you. And we appreciate each and every one of you. Rodas, you did a wonderful job, sir.
My pleasure being with y'all, but it's our ever essential workers. Always.
Absolutely. So thank you, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful night, and thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Have a good night.
Let's continue these conversations and move to action.